that actually a green screen behind you, or is it just a fucking wall that's green?
No, it's just a wall that's green.
What possesses you to
But it does.
paint a wall that color?
I'm not gonna lie, it was like this color when I moved back here.
Oh,
So I just left it.
I know I said what possesses you, but I actually kind of fucking like it.
I'm pretty sure you could use it as a green screen though.
Do you have any of these coloured walls in your house, Mudge? Your parents
bro.
have any colour? That's
Nah,
like
man.
your
Really?
colour, if you know
It'd
what
be
I mean.
like blue. Yeah, I know.
It like is yeah, you know, yeah.
So racist. No, it'd be like that blue. You know how when you used to have like Gibrock people and they would make it like of
Who?
Gibrock. You know,
I don't know what
Gyprock,
Gyprock
like-
isn't that like Gyprock, like what they used to build
yeah,
shit?
bro, but we
Yeah,
say
like-
that's how you say it properly, man. Gibrock.
Is it really?
Yeah, man.
That's just how Walk say it,
That's
man.
how they're basically the whole industry.
You sure that's not just Gyprock with an accent?
Nah, they'd use marble. They would use marble and have those like nice walls, man. Typical.
I don't know.
Nah.
I like it. Anyways, cool.
Anyways,
Off top.
I have a question.
I love how you put your
How do
hand
you
up.
guys? Well, it's there's four of us. And I'm sure at some
Listen
point it's
in.
gonna get confusing. How do you guys decide who gets to sit in the middle and the ends and all of that?
I don't know. Just is just how it's always been.
It's just how
Honestly, man, I've got I appreciate my tattoos on my right leg, and so if I can be on this side, I'm happy. That's how I kind of dictated that one.
And then for me, I need to be looking straight at the camera because
Yeah.
my nose, if I go that way, you can.
Yeah. No, that actually wasn't much of an issue. The issue is like trying to figure out who's going to talk and when they're going to talk. You know, when we first started, we used to have like these coloured like whiteboard markers, and we'd all hold one, and because this is before obviously recording, and now that we're recording live and like video and stream whatever else, it's awkward for us to hold like texts and be like, "Yeah, I'm going to talk next."
How many podcasts did you end up like with? Around over 100?
No, I think we stopped just short of 100. I mean, there probably is 100 because we did a bunch of like short ones as well, like not ones that were over like an hour long, but yeah, I think about 97.
I got two
is where
questions
we,
for you.
Actually got to.
I got two questions for you. Why did
Yeah.
you stop the podcast, and what was the premise behind the short podcast? I think that's quite interesting.
Yeah, so the reason that we stopped the podcast was it was very time intensive.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to continue doing something that wasn't instantly remunerative.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to make money. So like we changed our business philosophy to like, how do we make money now? Because I took some guys that were coaching for me and I was like, hey, this is what you guys want to do. Let's make this like a full-time gig. And Ash quit work and, I sort of started moving towards having the gym as my sole source of income. And because of that, we were like, let's put all of our eggs into actually making money. There's a bank of podcasts. If, anyone ever wanted to listen to me waffle on about training and life and all of that stuff. But that was the main reason. The short podcasts were just the step before we decided to completely can them. And it allowed us to continue doing podcasts, but not actually have to spend like 2-3 hours at a time. And then I didn't have to do a bunch of editing as well. Because my podcast sometimes went for like 4 hours.
Wow.
Whoa.
Proper like Jocko Willink or
Jocko
Joe
Willink,
Rogan
mate.
style.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed having the conversations. I'm not sure that everyone enjoyed listening to me for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Just be like,
Yeah.
If we were going to do that, we'd just
Cool.
record our business meetings.
Seriously.
But before we keep going, Andy, just for our new listeners, because obviously you were on the podcast a fair while ago when we were sitting in, my study cradled around a little table and microphone. Just introduce yourself. Let all our new listeners know who you are.
Yeah. Hey guys. My name is Andy. I own a gym in the Hawkesbury called Raw Barbell Club. We coach athletes all around Australia and sometimes the world, depending on whether Kush is competing or training or not. And yeah, we focus on Olympic weightlifting, powerlifting, strongman, and bringing those sports to a greater amount of people.
Yeah, sweet. And at the moment, you're still competing in strongman?
Well, right now I haven't competed since like New South Wales strongest, but
You won
I'm
that though, right?
hoping I did, yeah.
Yeah. So we've got
Because
New
you
South
weren't
Wales
there.
strongest man.
If you were there, it would have been a lot closer.
Oh, I don't know about that.
What category? What
My-
weight category are you in?
I'm under 80.
80.
Yeah, my strongman
Lightweight.
career was short and sweet.
I'm waiting for the resurgence, man.
Maybe
You'd make a good strongman. You should stop doing this garbage CrossFit stuff.
Wait. Say that again. Say that again.
Stop doing this garbage CrossFit stuff.
in.
Yeah,
I'm in.
look. If I move to anything, it'll definitely be strongman because I need a bit more variability than squat, bench, and deadlift. But
Dude, strongman is awesome. It's exactly like CrossFit, except on steroids. And we admit that everyone takes steroids.
yeah, CrossFit doesn't like admitting that.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I can't take steroids at the moment due to work reasons. So,
Hey, dude, I'm in the same boat, except due to Olympic weightlifting reasons.
oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the weightlifting being? Is it being banned in the Brisbane Olympics, or they're currently going through a process of trying to get the sport back there?
So it's not banned. What's happened is Olympic weightlifting has been dropped from the slate. So the IOC has final say on what sports are allowed to be in the Olympics. So the next Olympics, which is France, the IOC was like, look, you guys haven't really done all of the things we told you to do, which was rectify certain leadership issues, as well as, somewhat clean up the sport. So what they did was they said, you no longer have the 7 medals that we normally would give you, 7 female, 7 male, you get 5. So now they've cut the weight classes down, which makes, again, it harder to compete, harder to qualify for. And it's also, more dangerous. The less weight classes you have, the more instance of people having to like either put on a whole bunch of weight or drop a whole bunch of weight to fit into them. A lot of these people have had so long in their careers being at like a center weight. Like, are you going to tell Liu Jiajun that he's either got to go up to 89 or come down to, I don't know, what is it, 73? Like,
Fuck.
it's rough, right?
I'll tell him.
So
I'll message him.
yeah, just send him a DM. Actually, just funny, another story. We tagged Ilya in a post the other day when Red was lifting, and Ilya commented back and was like, "Oh, awesome work!" And I was like, "Oh."
I can retire. I'm done.
Is he been unbanned?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he came back, and then he's just retired due to obviously not being able to perform without help.
Wait, he got banned? What for?
Steroids.
Oh,
Do you know who we're
is there
talking about
steroids in
earlier?
weightlifting?
Oh, shit.
Who knew?
Well, it's like your story that you said, what's his name, didn't even get tested during
Yeah,
Worlds.
Lasher didn't get tested at Worlds. Did you know that?
Yeah, there's a bunch of people that don't get tested.
Yeah, wow.
I mean, I understand that some people like fall, under the radar. I don't think Lasher should fall under the radar.
Lasher's like the biggest one there. He should be falling under anything.
Yeah. Yeah, like he's on my radar right now. Just I can see him from here. The dude's 176 kilos.
Is he 176? Far out.
Yeah,
I thought
something
I
like
thought he was
that.
like 130.
That
Okay,
makes
I
his
was-
snatch so much less impressive.
Bro, 220.
Louis was like he did it at 130 kilos.
Nah, he's
You were
like,
Regardless.
170 kilos. That's not even impressive, boys. Isn't
You
he like
serious?
50 kilos heavy above his head?
Oh.
Bro, that's like, same with Julius Maddox bench press.
Seriously, it's not impressive,
It's the
man.
same weight as him.
It's horrible. It's not even that cool.
How I was
Do
gonna
you
say?
struggle?
No, I was gonna segue.
Oh,
the
I struggle.
conversation.
I struggle a lot, man. But what
Yeah.
are you asking about?
Are you talking about his bench press? Or?
Yeah, it struggles really bad.
I was just going to ask about your thoughts on weight classes. I think that's a really interesting topic, especially, coming from someone in CrossFit. And I know, one of our coaches, Luke, he's been a heavyweight strongman like his entire career. And he's, weight classes are very novel to him. So yeah, be curious to hear all three of your thoughts on that.
Wow, I've never had to think about them. So to be honest,
Honestly, same. I have never really thought about them, given it much thought. I don't really care. I'm not sure. Like, I feel like it's almost like a bit of a political kind of question. Does it matter? Or I don't know. I don't really know what the answer should be to that. I don't really care. I mean, like, obviously they should exist. Maybe sometimes.
Should they?
Oh fuck.
Like, why do they exist? Like, how many sports do not have weight classes?
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
The only why do we have sports? To create parity and opportunity for people to lift, right? Or to compete in a sport. So be able to say, hey, this person can box without getting his head kicked in because he is, 20,000 kilos lighter than Lasher.
Look, I'd be all for taking weight classes out of the UFC just to watch.
That'd be unreal.
Just to see what
the
would happen.
UFC started without weight classes, right?
Yeah.
It was anything goes. That was the fun of it. If you go back to like UFC 1 and all those things, there was no weight classes.
Man,
it
they're
was
the
just
best.
like,
You'd get like some kung fuers come out in like in a full like gi, and then like you get some dude like bare knuckle fighters come out in nothing. It was unreal. I think to kind of obviously answer the question, it's like, mass moves mass, and so I mean that's probably the most important part. You can't fuck with physics here, and if someone is a little bit heavier, well, then they're probably gonna have a propensity to lift a little bit more than what you could if you weren't as heavy as them, and so I think that's an obvious one. It's like for that particular reason, I'm kind of happy that weight classes exist. But at the same time, there's plenty of other variables to consider. So, yeah, I don't know.
I fucking hate weight classes.
Yeah, I'm sure. Would you be happy if there was no weight
Yeah.
classes?
Having to cut weight, man, is horrible, seriously.
I don't like weight classes that exist with like a point something. It's like, what for?
I'm just in that
I don't
stage where it's
understand.
like 89
So those-
or 81.
Can't we just be like a flat
So
tens or
weight-
something? Like,
so weight classes that exist with a point something, aren't they usually because they've been divided by 2.2, like for pounds or something?
Really?
is that
Like
how far it
in
goes? So I've never
powerlifting,
even-
is it like 82.5
I think that
kilo
is,
class
yeah.
or something?
yeah, it's
That'd
always
be like,
0.5s,
Fucking
yeah.
Americans
Why
with
are
their
we?
pounds.
Why is pounds still a thing? Like seriously, actually, it's ridiculous.
we're all part of this American industrial complex. If they hadn't helped out in World War One where they made all the weapons, or was that World War Two? Whatever it was, like
Both.
if they didn't do that, we'd probably all be metric everywhere.
So at your gym, I've never actually been to Raw Barbell. I hope to visit it one day. And you said you guys have Strongman, you got Ollie, and you got some powerlifting as well. How does that look on a daily basis when someone walks into Raw Barbell? What does that shit look like, man? How does it sound? How do people get along? Do they get along?
Yeah, so the biggest thing that we've tried to do when bringing athletes in is get them used to what we call the hive mind. In that every single coach that is there is their coach. It's very easy to be like, hey, Ash is the powerlifting coach, Andy's the weightlifting coach, Luke is the strongman coach. We try to keep all of our skills high through constant discourse. Like, I know you guys do it as well, where sometimes conversations get pretty heated and things like that. But that is what makes you guys grow as coaches, right? Because you have to be, oh, yeah, I think belts are dumbass for weightlifting. And then, Luke will turn around and be like, no, I can see why this would work. And then I'd be like, fuck you, Luke, you're wrong. And then he'd be like, give me a well thought out answer and, give me a day or two. And I'll be like, oh yeah, okay, I get that. That makes sense. So we try to create a hive mind of coaching where the coaches are always on the same page, which means that the athletes are always getting pretty much the same product all the time. And because of that, they get also exposed to different ways of doing things as well as different movements. So someone is trying to improve their strict press. Maybe they got some shoulder pain, but neutral grip doesn't hurt them. So, hey, you're going to try and do some log instead. And now you've started learning what strongman is about, or vice versa. Hey, you can't strict press, it hurts. We're going to go behind the neck, snatch grip. Now you're starting to feel what it's like to be overhead in a, quite unstable position. Hey, you understand how Olympic weightlifting works. That's basically what it is, making unstable positions stable.
It's very similar to what we do kind of thing, because we'll talk about that, whether it be energetics or like we'll ask Dennis questions about like say hypertrophy stuff or, ways that we can make people stronger, and then we can get that idea and actually, test it out. But I think that's the beauty, is like if you're humble enough to listen and be able to actually implement it, because you find a lot of people are just like, nah, I don't need to know what you're talking about, I'm sticking in my lane. And you find that if anything, you're like wanting to listen to someone else, you might actually learn. I find that massively, especially like when we talk about energetics and stuff, conditioning stuff. But
Everything is taking it from a different approach, because it's like all disciplines in strength sports can give each other something. Like there's always something that you can get from somewhere else in that sense.
I 100% agree. Like sports lend themselves to each other. You can always learn something from someone. On the weekend, I was lucky enough to attend a kettlebell seminar.
Wait, those
And-
guys are insane. Like kettlebell
Yeah.
competitions, it's ridiculous. They literally
It is
swing kettlebells
crazy.
for hours. You're like, what the hell?
So that's a little bit different. That's like a sport in itself. This would be like more Pavel stuff, so like strong first,
Yeah.
where they're using max force every swing, and they do like kettlebell snatch and stuff, but it'd be like 5 minutes max. But anyway, like this dude Hugo was teaching the hip hinge for the purpose of learning kettlebell swings, and I'd always block the back of someone's legs to teach them that, because like you guys also train beginners, and teaching someone the hip hinge can sometimes be the most frustrating thing, right?
Yep. Yes. I'm not squatting. You are squatting.
Yeah, I'm not like, can you keep your back straight? I am keeping my back straight. No, the proof is right in front of me.
Yeah, you like flatten your back out and you're like the other flat.
And you're like, good, that's awesome, you're doing well. Can you try it with weight? And then they're like, do something completely different all over again.
Yeah, I like that you're saying. I'm actually really interested to hear what you're about to say now about blocking someone's legs. Can you go on with that?
Oh yeah, so the best way to teach movement is to remove complexity, right?
Yeah.
So complexity is extra joints in the case of like most movement. So if we take out your ability to, for example, use your knees, then you can't squat. So if we block your legs up against a bench, now you're hip hinging and you're not able to like move the knees forward because you've got some tactile feedback. Or you can put them in front if you really wanted, or put something there. But the thing is, like, if I was trying to teach a massive group of people, which you guys also, like being in the military, probably have to do, it's really hard to be like, all right, everyone grab a bench. Like, we're going to do this. It depends. Maybe some bases have like 1 billion benches.
Not that I've seen,
No.
unfortunately. Everyone just does floor press.
Yep. Logistics.
Yeah.
But yeah, what Hugo did was like, hey guys, everyone, let's get down on the ground on our knees, and I'm going to teach you how to hip hinge while you're on your knees. He's just taking the joint out without even having to use anything.
And
I was
everyone
like,
knows
oh,
how to thrust on their knees.
Everyone knows how to thrust on their knees. Exactly.
Not Mudge.
At least all the boys do.
Mudge is forgotten.
Some girls do, but yeah, I like it.
Oh shit!
Fucking hell, Dennis.
Wait, this is going on
Of course it
YouTube,
is.
man. No swearing.
No, we've screwed. That ship's sailed.
You just have to tick that box where it's like, is this safe for children?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I ticked yes for the last one, just because I felt crazy. I was feeling dangerous.
Hey, you're fine as long as we don't start talking about vaccine mandates.
Stop
Ah,
it!
beep. That was my attempt at bleeping it out because I haven't figured out that feature yet. No.
Yeah, we
look,
talk about
we-
constraints approach. Like,
Wait, sorry,
that's it.
I got to go back to you. Like, were you finished with your constraints thing? Because the way that you talk, I'm literally sitting here and I'm just simmering into my chair, absorbing what you're saying because it's so smooth. And
That's why he's got the
articulate. I quite
microphone.
like it.
He's got an ASMR channel.
No, it's good.
Channel.
And yeah, but were you still going with that constraints conversation there?
No, it was basically, I think it's worthwhile learning from any sport. I learned from a kettlebell
Sure.
guy on the weekend.
So what'd you learn? What did you learn with the hip
was
hinge? What did
good.
you learn with the hip hinge? Like, how did they teach you how to hip hinge rather than what you've known for the last 20 fucking years?
Getting on your knees and just
Sure.
doing it that way. I
Oh,
would
that-
always block them. I would always
Oh,
translate
right, okay.
straight to the deadlift, where
Yeah.
he has taken that out and been like, hey, we're going to do this. The other thing that he did was like, when you were in the hip hinge, he was like, put your hands on the ground. Now you've got a level of feedback where you're able to get your chest up because you're pushing through your arms, or, go into like is it like cat cows, right?
Yep.
And then translating that to, can we do that hip hinge or thrust, as Dennis calls it, to take a stand up?
The kneeling thrust. Yeah, I like
kneeling
it.
thrust.
Yeah, I often kind of see. Actually seen so many people like at a Globo gym, particularly girls, physique orientated girls, use a Smith machine and do like these kneeling thrusts with a Smith machine. But in that context, it makes zero sense. But in this context, to teach someone how to hinge, I actually quite like that. I'm surprised we haven't actually ever done that in the workplace that we work in, considering we have like hundreds of people at any one time teaching them how to hip hinge.
We can try
We've
it.
done it with the bands, but like that regress from that banded standing thrust. It's like get on your knees.
Yeah, but I think
That sounds bad.
But I think
Not to recruits. Get on your knees.
but I like the approach of constraints of getting rid of some, trying to eliminate the kinetic chain.
Yeah.
Whereas with their standing with the band, you haven't eliminated any constraint. In fact, you've just added yet another complexity to the entire system, because now they've got a resistance they've also got to fight against, a pattern that they don't even know how
but
to
I'm
do.
saying in that to teach the ones that don't get it, we have gone to the extent of taking them like a joint away by placing them on their knees in that position. Yeah, the band's still there, but
Yeah,
essentially
okay.
still, yeah.
It's
Can
crazy.
you explain to me what you mean by like putting the band? So the band's around their shoulders, like they were doing like a
Nah,
baby
just
good
their
morning?
hip.
Just their hips. So it was
and you're pulling the band from behind.
yeah, so their band's choked off to a rack from behind. The same thing. It's just to give them some type of like competency in the hinge and show them to allow like their sort of hips to go back instead of them tilting forward onto their toes.
Choked off, eh?
Yeah.
They're on their knees and the band is choked. What are you teaching these people?
Yeah, okay. All
And
right.
the band is around their neck.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Yeah, exactly right. And there's another person there that's holding their hands just for a bit of extra stability.
And then another person saying thrust. I like it.
To a cadence, yeah, of thrust.
What kind of clientele or what kind of athletes do you primarily work with, Andy?
It really depends. We have people come in off the street that have never done anything before. And with them, it's about exposing them to these new movements. And then we also have athletes that have competed or done sports for a long time. And then they are coming to us to get that next level in their training.
So considering that you've got a pretty good weightlifting background and now as a strongman background, do you get those kind of people in particular, or do you really kind of get anyone?
I have to be really careful with saying this because I don't want to say like I turn away people,
Yep.
but for someone to work with us, they have to display a level of, for someone to work with us long term, they have to display a level of adherence to the process or love of the process, not just like, hey, I saw you on Instagram, you look strong, I want to lift with you.
You have cool hair. Yeah.
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 And there are people like that exist. I'm like, cool, you want to work with us? Buy a t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's the extent of like your, how you come and work.
I'm
with
still waiting on that discount code, bro.
us. I told you what it was. What did I say it was?
I don't know. It was like plus
20,
20%, bro.
Plus 20 adds 20%. Have you gone like, how you said now you can kind of, how you saying choose who you work with, but is that just something like a lesson you've learned where you've taken everyone and anyone and you've realized that, you want to work with a particular niche?
Yeah. And if someone wants to come and train with us, like they can come train at the gym. That's fine. I'm talking about like working like one-on-one with me because I don't quite have the time I used to. Like I don't do any floor hours at the gym anymore unless they're one-on-ones either with someone who has an interesting problem they're trying to solve or they're my online clients. Like if Aiden, you came down, I'd be like, yeah, man, let's tee up a session, but let's not tee up any tees because
How's
you
Aiden's
still haven't got yours either.
how's his adherence of filling out his sheets
I'm
since
way
last
better.
time?
I felt like last week I was not the greatest, but other than that, I've been pretty good. Come on, Andy, you can.
I got a bunch of videos from Aiden today.
Yeah.
And I'm very
That was a struggle,
proud.
man. That was a struggle. I think I'll send you the clean, but we were talking about this, and it's like sometimes you need to know when to like take it back and a rest. Because I've obviously been consistently training for the last like couple months, and right, being my previous job, I wasn't always consistent with training, and so it's like there's always that time where we spoke, and I was like, my next block, like I want to take it easy. I want to, reduce the amount of weightlifting I'm doing, but like still work on some other stuff that's still going to make me strong. Because you find that, point when you're grinding, I'm starting to feel the chronic fatigue, not so much like specific injuries, but it's more like that chronic fatigue and a combination of like what we talked about, other lifestyle factors, because you don't realize, running a business, working full time, that takes out a lot of you and it starts to affect your training in some ways. But it's like having that ability to then step back and say, look, I need to reduce my load. I'm still going to get probably better, if anything, if I try to grind through it. But yeah, it's always interesting when you pick it up really well when I'm like just feeling off. But that's the whole point of like, having a coach and, knowing the individual.
Yeah, because you guys just launched Oaks and Oak Light. Is that right?
Yeah, we just launched it. So that's been pretty busy.
I'd love to hear more about launching that, because I feel like you guys had like the best problem in the world where you weren't quite ready for the response you got, and
I don't think we've been quite ready for anything.
We'll tell you the story, right? Because obviously we collaborated with the Salient Dig on Instagram, and it was Friday. It would have been a Friday night.
It was a Friday night.
Friday night,
yeah.
we were having a healthy dinner.
Hey, why did you decide Friday?
Well,
we didn't decide the day.
It was supposed to like kick off Wednesday, but a few things happened where I think he had some other. He was away for a couple of days. Anyways, he was going to launch on. He's like, "Oh, I'm going to message you guys. I'm about to launch or put up a post on the Friday." Me and Lou were at Korean
barbecue.
Korean barbecue, and we were like, "Yes, sweet." I think Dennis was on. He was on duty, weren't you? And then we were like, "Yes, we'll just. I'm sure it'll be fine." Like. It'll pick up after a couple of days.
No, we didn't even know that he was doing it that night, though. I'm pretty sure. And then it just started.
Yeah, it just started.
Like, oh, no.
We're like, oh, no. And then it started like, another sign up. And we're like, we've got to go and shut that link off. So we had to cut dinner and then drive back home and then shut the thing. And then it was like, yeah. It's crazy launching a product because, like, the next day I took the time and I was like, you know what? It's pretty cool from the start, to deciding what exactly the framework you're going to use, what app you're going to use, how you're going to launch it, the marketing. There is so many pieces, and it's like a lot of lessons learned for when we do it in the future. But at the same time, it was like pretty rewarding to see something, what's the word, fruition, see it through. It was cool to see, and it's like something that's ours, and definitely enjoying sharing that, because I find a lot of people enjoy weightlifting or aspects of weightlifting, or we essentially say CrossFitters that don't want to do CrossFit, but they still like lifting, they like conditioning, and it's like finding that, and that's what Oaked is helping solve that problem.
Yeah, I've seen you do a couple of the Oaked workouts, and we've talked about some of them, and I rate them like compared to some of the fluff I see. And well, that's the whole point, is that there's no fluff, right? There's no junk volume.
That's exactly my terrible analogy. When I was like park bench seat, we're not going to call it that, and then I use the word.
I don't know. Let's not go down that.
For the listeners,
we stay away from analogies a little bit now.
For now.
But we need to work on them before we present them each time.
Oh man, I lost my train of thought. What was I saying? What were we talking about?
Oaked.
No, you asked the question, Andy, just before.
Oh yeah, I was just saying, like, I've seen the workouts you guys do, and it's definitely like it's a smarter approach to conditioning. So it has more transferability to, basically any other sports or CrossFit.
Well,
because as long as you keep up your skills and you're getting fitter and not beat up, you're going to get better, right?
Yeah, because it's what you talked about when you have all these different disciplines, and we had to come together and decide what it is that we believe in, or our pillars, so to speak. And we have, being our first one, competency, then the next one, capacity and strength. In all three of the way we program, and with these flagship programs, they represent some part of that. And so a big part of Oaked is, having the competency to do different types of movements, but also that capacity aspect where, you're exposed to different types of stimuluses and conditioning. And, sometimes the workouts, you've got to send it a little bit to figure out and learn about yourself. That's one thing I guess I miss when I'm constantly doing weightlifting. Yeah, it's hard when I've got those, double clean and jerk and I've lost my breath, but that's conditioning for me. But I've missed that aspect of those longer type of workouts, or even like ones that just, when you've been in the hole and you're like, fuck, after you finish, you're thankful and you learn a little bit about yourself. But yeah, that's what I guess I miss slightly from when I originally started in CrossFit back in the day. 2014.
Do you guys at Raw Barbell have any of these kind of programs at all?
So we do a group class, and it's usually just like an entry level. Hey guys, today's class, for example, was a warm up followed by 4 or 5 sets of 2 box jumps to just introduce people to just jumping and doing something different. And they had some back squats. I think it was like 5x3, or 3x3, something very simple. And then their conditioning was kettlebell swings, sit-ups, rowing, and single arm kettlebell farmers carries.
Straight on the kettlebells. Come off kettlebell course. Guess what, everyone? You're getting kettlebells. Love that.
Nah, that was programmed a few weeks back. But yeah, like it wouldn't, like if you follow me and you start seeing me doing like heavy kettlebell swings, that's definitely because of the course.
Well, recently,
I love that
I was
you-
going to say,
I'm not too proud to tell you that I am that person. Like if I do a course, I'm definitely going to start doing that stuff for like at least a week.
have you,
until it-
Andy, recently I've seen you do some running stuff. Have you done a running course? I mean, I know we shouldn't swear, but like, what's this exploration of running?
So Kush told me that I need to have more variety in my training and get more spring through my thorax. So she did recommend doing some running. The actual running that you saw me do was like a one-time thing. It was 5 sets of those hill sprints, and it left me on the floor for 2 hours. Like, you think you get out of breath doing 2 clean and jerks? I get out of breath getting out of bed. I have long COVID, and it's the worst.
Segueing a little bit, obviously, like we were talking about earlier, you competed in the sport strongman, you train it. How do you sort of approach your programming when it comes to strongman? Because I don't obviously program for any strongman, but we work at a gym where obviously strongman's pretty prevalent. It's something they push, and I've had some conversations with Josh on how he approaches it. But I'd be interested to hear, like, sort of what's your approach? Because I know he's said some stuff prior about, they don't really do any like maximal strength stuff. Everything is just about like high rep sets and AMRAPs, and I'm not 100% sure. But how do you tackle that in a strength sense, but as well as implementing all the different skills that you might see within strongman, like, your log, your axles, your stones, your sandbags, your like sandbag tosses, like whatever it might be? How do you sort of go about that?
Yeah, I mean, so I come to strongman obviously from a weightlifting background, but before I was a weightlifter, I also did CrossFit. So I approach it in a very similar way. And I would say that maybe you approach it similar as well to that, in that there are key things that we need to always practice. For example, stones always need to have some place in a program because they require a high level of technique to perform well. Same thing with like a log. But there are things that are just grunt work, like carrying a sandbag. You don't need to do that every week. Lifting an axle bar, again, unless your grip strength's trash, you don't need to, deadlift an axle bar every week. Like a straight bar is fine. Same thing with like farmers carries. Yoke, in fact, is like, it wrecks your body because it's a lot of weight just compressing you. So you'd only need to do that in comp specific prep.
Yep.
Now we have those key strongman movements. Now we just need to focus on getting stronger as well. So similar to weightlifting, what are the things we do? We pull, we press, we squat. And I would fill out the program with that. And then our accessory work would come from what deficiencies are we seeing in that strength work. And then as we get closer to a competition, it's what deficiencies do we see in that comp specific work.
Cool. Yeah, I guess it's relatively straightforward and kind of how I think the process would sort of look like. On that, do you sort of add any type of like conditioning at all ever? And like, because obviously a lot of the stuff that strongman does is, max out sets of this, or, sprints with sandbags or whatever it might be. Obviously, nothing really over 3 to 5 minutes, maybe on the stretch. But do you add anything like that for that, I guess, extra capacity style training, or?
Yeah, so generally things aren't longer than 90 seconds.
Yeah.
It's very anaerobic, no matter what people say. Sometimes they do longer things, but it's mostly about recovery between heavy events. Powerlifting, big 3. We know people don't recover when they get to deadlifts. Like, how many people squat really well, bench decently, and then deadlifts, they're like, yeah, I got nothing left. That's when you need to finish strong. Strongman is often like 5 events. And, if you max out, let's say you max out a deadlift, usually you've got some sort of AMRAP of like a press event or even like a medley. Then you've got, I don't know, a farmer's carry yoke, some sort of funny, odd implement carry. And then lastly is usually some sort of stone. The amount of people that fade when they get to stones is like up here. So what your fitness needs to be is just having enough recovery capacity to be able to get through all of your events.
Yeah.
So in your off season, yeah, like 20 minutes, pulling a sled or being on a bike is going to be like beneficial. In fact, like you probably do that all the time. Going for hikes, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just steady state stuff that's going to keep you generally fit. You don't have the time, because I don't know if you've trained strongmen before, but there's a huge time investment in actually like getting equipment out and setting it up.
Yeah. No, I wasn't that strong.
Yeah. No, like even like anything, like taking farmers carries out to do farmers carries. Like, sorry. Aiden, like you were doing Zercher yoke carries for a while. Like, how much of a pain was it to set that up every week?
Yeah, especially if it wasn't already set, it'd be annoying.
Yeah. So because of that, we don't like most of your time spent training is actually setting up and packing things away.
Yeah.
So you don't want to, extra fluff in there.
Same as like as the stronger you get, the more plates you have to put back. And then Dennis has ran out of plates at work now. He can't deadlift at work anymore. It's the worst.
I can't even train at home anymore. Like, I get more plays.
Well, it's a good thing. You're getting strong. I wanted a segue question because, you mentioned Kush. And Kush is, for people that aren't listening, don't know her, she's a physio. She's currently in Canada. And I've always wanted to ask you more questions on that because she works under some type of famous like physio or the system. Can you elaborate?
Yeah. So Kush works under a physio named LJ Lee, who created a system of basically treatment and diagnostic called Connect Therapy, TM, because I'm pretty sure it's trademarked. And they do some really, really cool work in actually identifying the root cause of dysfunction, treating it through repatterning movement, and then getting people actually back to their sport, through a process. And they treat, Olympic athletes, basically anyone who can't get fixed by other physiotherapists or other health professionals eventually find their way to Synergy, which is the practice that she works at.
Because, you visited Canada recently. Did you get to check out the facilities or anything like that?
Yeah, the practice is really cool. I wasn't going to pay for treatment, so I just got her to treat me at home for free. But,
Were you on your knees with the band choked off?
And she's like, "This is how you hip hinge."
Yeah.
That's an interesting form of physiotherapy. I've not actually heard of it before.
Yeah, it sounds alright.
Yeah,
I like it.
I got a bit of a sore back. Just
like in all seriousness, when she was very new as a physio studying Connect Therapy, she helped me through some, referring hip pain that basically stopped me from squatting for like almost a year. And that was me being like, oh shit, this stuff actually works. Sorry, I swore again, but this stuff actually works. And because of that, I was able to compete at nationals that year, and eventually, now I'm able to compete in like a lot of other things.
Can we talk a little bit about this pain?
Yeah, because you mentioned,
you
mentioned movement. Like, so I'm assuming they use movement. They're not very like manual intensive, are they? Or are they moving away from that?
No, they are. Look, release work plays a big role in freeing up the body for options of movement. The way they describe it is, if you think of yourself as sitting on a toboggan at the top of a snow mound, because they're Canadians, so that's why they use this euphemism. You go down once and you create a little divot or a track. You could go down again. The likelihood of you going down that same track is pretty high, right? And the more you go down it, there is literally no other way you can, because the divots are so deep, the patterns are so ingrained that there's nowhere else for you to go. And the same is for movement. So if if I move my arm this way, up and down, and my scapula doesn't quite move so freely, because when I was, mountain biking one day, I fell over on my shoulder and I developed some sort of guarding mechanism. Then every time I do that, this is going to be the case. And eventually, maybe I develop some, right lower back pain, because, we all know that there's like a sling that goes from, my left shoulder to my right hip. And then we need to figure out, like, you don't know as an athlete why this is happening. You're just freaked out. You're like, I don't know. I tried releasing my back. It's not working. I've tried releasing my glutes. It's not working. I've tried doing monster walks. I've, watched every single Aaron Horschig video, and I think they're all horseshit. Like,
I've bought his book. I've read every single exercise. I've tried them all.
I've not rebuilt Milo.
I have nothing against Squat University. I was just, some of the stuff he posts is a bit weird, but like, he's been on my podcast. Oh wait, he was on your podcast as well, right?
No, because I asked you ages ago, I was like, was he, when you got him, was he hard? But you were like, was he hard? Was he hard to get?
Was he on his knees?
Yeah, was he on his knees? No, but yeah, because you got him when he wasn't as big, was he?
Yeah, no, like, he's massive now. He's like Joel Seaman.
How big was he?
He's like Joel
just as
Seaman.
Joel Seaman as well.
and just as useless.
Oh, mate. Well, we're talking about him. He's done something well.
I'm throwing shade for no reason.
You know what's funny?
Just got me.
It's all right. Now we've got these like short clips for TikTok, so you're going on TikTok, bro.
Oh, we're on TikTok now too. Fuck, yeah.
Are you really?
Yeah,
yeah.
we got told
back
to.
when it was called Musically.
Is that what really?
Mm.
No, we're on TikTok now.
personally-
OnlyFans is next.
But
Awesome. You guys should just have launched Oaked on OnlyFans. Use that as the platform. Like, screw Discord or whatever else you guys use. You're like, yeah, we're gonna communicate you through OnlyFans.
The first strength and conditioning group on OnlyFans. maybe it could be a thing. So sort of let's guess, going back on topic. When you did have that issue, it was with your hip. Is that right?
Yeah.
What sort of stuff did like Kush have you doing, and what did that kind of like process look like?
Yeah, so a lot of it was like decompression work for my thorax, because I was just like so patterned into like locking down everything. So we did a bit of release work, and then it was repatterning that. So to do it again, like if you're changing technique on anything else, and just like for those listening at home, like, I am not a physical therapist. I am not trained in Connect therapy. I am not even close to able to, tell you guys exactly how it works, why it works, or, like, I don't want to put words in Kush's mouth, or
we'll put a disclaimer, don't worry.
Dr. LJ's. Yeah, I want people to know, like, I'm selling this because it helped me, and it's helped a lot of my athletes. People that
have
worked
you got
with
a
Kush,
discount
people
code?
that worked with Rob. Yeah, it's add 20%. So it started really simply with being able to just do inversions, because that is the easiest way to decompress someone, right? Like, we know down dogs and stuff straight away after you're in like a heavy set of squats sometimes makes your back feel better, because it's like, stretching us out. It's decompressing, because we're used to always having gravity act this way on us, not the other way. Then going into, down dogs, eventually handstands, that kind of stuff. There was a lot of other things that we did. And then we gradually introduced movements that I had the capacity to do well. For me, that was good mornings at the time. And over a period of months, we were able to get down to squats, which turned into cleans and front squats and all of that goodness. And then eventually I went to nationals.
Yeah.
So you're telling me you spent some time on an inversion table, did some good mornings, some squats, and you're at nationals?
Not inversion tables.
So
I've
what
never
were you
used an inversion
inverting exactly?
I'm talking about like doing things like down dog. So like just getting yourself upside
Oh,
down,
okay. Yep.
using your arms as bases.
Yep. Okay. Cool.
Even handstands against the wall would be considered inverting yourself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, awesome. That's really cool. Yeah.
Sounds very familiar to, like, I guess, expansion compression. Certain
Well, I remember
components.
you talking about that.
Because, you're
when I was up
mentioning
there last.
your ribs, your pelvis. I don't know. Do you see, like, any translation?
No.
I hear little bits, but not.
Nah. Yeah, obviously.
Again,
that's
it's-
where
In my head,
mind
I'm just
was,
trying to
and-
think, yeah. No.
Again, it's hard
Well,
without sort of.
explain to us what expansion and all this stuff is.
Dumb it
Because
down, Dennis,
maybe I
for
can
us.
put
No,
the
I want
pieces together.
give us a dumb version.
You were the first. I mean, you were the most recent one who learnt it.
The easiest way that, you take, like, say, usually we describe movements, sagittal, transverse, frontal, all those types of movements, right? But we don't really move like that. You can't just move in one direction. You generally move through different planes. And the whole expansion compression model is like the easiest way is like when you see a fish move, right? It's like tail's one way, its body's one way. It's got to move in order to actually move forward. It's got to expand and compress. How I've seen it is like we as like powerlifters, weightlifters, we're generally very compressed, right? No, we're expanded.
Compressed.
compressed.
Posteriorly.
Yeah, I always get that. So we're like what you kind of explain. You're always your ribs always towards your pelvis, like you're compressed in that position, right? And we don't ever do that any type of expansion work. Who would be an athlete that's expanded? Like an athlete? They're able to,
It's
You
hard.
can-
You
you
could
can-
say,
hard.
let's
Like, this
say
is why
a
it's concept-
cyclist, potentially.
You can also have a powerlifter who's quite expanded as well.
Yeah.
It really depends.
Yeah.
Their training styles,
A
their
bench
volume.
specialist?
A bench specialist would be
Like-
very, very compressed posteriorly.
Okay. Oh, so you can have compression like this way.
So
and
you can
that
talk
way.
compression
That's what you're
posterior,
saying?
anterior. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. It's like just saying you're
Okay.
compressed doesn't mean you're compressed in the one single way. You could be compressed anteriorly or posteriorly. You know what I mean? Because it's just a biphasic model. So if one area is compressed, well, the opposing area has to be expanded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know
okay.
what I mean?
What about a javelin thrower?
expanded.
It's
it
absolutely
depends.
hard to say. You literally
Yeah.
you're shooting from the hip here with with no target in front. It's like because they're who knows.
Yeah.
Yeah. Essentially,
know.
if they're
I mean-
turned, like the way the analogy that I got taught was like, say, for example, certain sports require either for you to be more compressed or more expanded, but then you might be say if you're driving, right, you might be stuck in one way. If you're stuck in one way, you can't really continue going the other way. So by bringing like, I guess, variation in your training, again, this is just shooting from the hip. You can kind of bring that a little bit back to your balance, so to speak. But there are times when you have to kind of sacrifice. We know this in sports, like in weightlifting. Like there's certain things that I have to, like I've learned quickly that I can't do much horizontal pressing because for me it affects my weightlifting a lot more than someone else. So I guess, it's kind of just, making sure that you're balanced, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's very
Yeah,
hard.
We've
it's
also
just
talked
an-
about-
Sorry, you go, man.
No, you guys keep going. I was just saying we've talked about how you would reintroduce horizontal pressing back into your training by building the capacity up a lot slower.
Yeah, because every time I try to introduce it, I just go way over my maximum recovery volume and I just suffer
Yeah.
for
You
it.
send a wad. That's
Yeah,
your first
send the wad.
exposure to it.
And you don't help me when the weight's actually fucking
I enjoyed that video.
piece of shit. Yeah. But no, I was just wondering because I was like, it sounds like it, but I don't know enough to be like, cool, that is it.
It sounds like another model. That's
Yeah.
what it sounds like. It sounds like another model of looking at movement
Yeah.
and looking at, why someone's moving the way they are and what they're doing, and then potentially how to bring them back to having different movement options, as opposed to being stuck in that same pattern that they've been in for a long period of time. That's kind of the similarities I'd put it together.
A much better way of explaining it than the way I did, Louis. You're a wordsmith.
Nah, I liked the bobsled. It was cool. Yeah, cool.
Dennis, are you competing anytime soon?
Yeah, I've got what have I got? New South Wales titles. It's not titles actually. Their last chance qualifier for nationals, and so that's actually in April. I'm about 9 weeks out, and obviously through that,
what does your training look like right now?
Saucy. Yeah, the first block of prep has kind of started now, so it's quite simple. Maybe about 4.5 hours total work a week, man. That's it.
Classic powerlifter.
Just classic.
Are you going to pull 300?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Sick.
Is that the goal?
Yeah.
Pull 300?
Yeah, and then I'm done.
Heck yeah.
Quit. I'm going above 8 hours. Forget about me. My 300 kilos is in my hands and my hips are thrusted forwards. And I'm standing.
Can you be on your knees?
No. No, I'm not. Yes,
It might be easier if you're on your knees.
Yes, I've got last chance. I've got Nats after that, and then hopefully from there we'll get APL Worlds in October. So yeah, it's a pretty big year. It's going to be a very monotonous year for me.
Heck yeah, dude.
But that's it,
awesome.
man. Yeah. Yep.
Just basically just put in the work and watch it pay off.
Hope for it to pay off, really.
Well, there's no hope.
Yeah, I'll put
bro.
the work in.
Back yourself. You gonna pull 300 at Worlds?
Yeah, we will. I'll pull it at Nats at least. So yeah,
there we go.
What about you?
Are you doing the Open?
Yeah,
Starts
Friday.
Have you started prepping for that yet?
Prep started on Monday actually, so I'm feeling good. I'm actually really sore because I've had the Major League Opens over the last 4 weeks, and we had the last workout on Monday, and it was disgraceful. So,
what was the workout?
So it was ascending ladder of DT. So. So 20-minute AMRAP, 300-meter row, 1 round of DT, 300-meter row, 2 rounds of DT, 300-meter row, 3 rounds of DT for 20 minutes. And my traps are just toast right now. But I did that on Monday, but I think I'll be okay for Friday. We'll see how we go. I'm definitely much better prepared than last year, doing like Strongman for like 3 months, and my diet consisted of the growth cookies.
Yeah.
So
you loved it, mate.
I'm definitely in a better place than there.
So I have a question about that, because what the hell happened to them? They don't exist anymore?
I think it was a supply issue. I had a brief conversation with Josh about it, and I think it was like something like they sold everything they had, and then they couldn't get stock, and then everyone just stopped ordering, and I don't know what happened after that.
Because honestly, like, the cookies were great. Like, I loved them. I ordered like 4 more boxes after I got that first box.
Yeah.
But they had this like mass gainer shake that was like cola flavored.
Yeah, right.
And it was the best protein shake I've ever had.
Cola flavored.
Taste wise.
Did it actually taste like cola?
It just, it tastes like cherry cola.
Yeah, right.
So it wasn't like, I don't really like milky stuff.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. And I tried to order it again, and they're like, we don't sell this anymore. And I was like, why the fuck not?
Have you had the cyborg stuff, if you don't like milky stuff?
No, I haven't.
Cyborg collagen, I think it's like mango orange. It's sick.
Ooh.
It's stupidly expensive, but it just tastes like fruit juice.
See, that's exactly what I need.
It's so good.
That's like back in the day with the Evolve. They had those nice little fruit ones.
They did have the apple one, I think. Yeah.
That was so good.
Yeah.
Wouldn't taste.
I'm just writing this down so I don't forget it.
I'll send you a photo after this.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Put that in the show notes.
Yeah.
Like, that's the important thing to take from this today.
What about you? Talking about competition, is there anything coming up for you in the future? Bouncing back into New South Wales Strongest Man this year, or?
Yes, I want to do New South Wales Strongest Man. That's in June.
Yeah.
I haven't decided yet whether depending on like the depth of competition, I'm thinking about moving up a weight class.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it seems like a good thing to do as you get stronger to challenge yourself.
Take the title in one and move to the next.
Yeah, I mean, even if I eat shit, like, what's the point of winning if it's like, if, for example, like if Yannick doesn't come back and it's like a bunch of people that maybe are not as at that level in New South Wales, I'd just go to under 90 and then get my ass whooped because it seems more fun and more worth it to challenge myself.
Just come back to CrossFit.
And then honestly, I'm the fittest when I was doing like that kind of strongman, I was the fittest I've ever been. And if you had asked me to do like a CrossFit workout with you, I would have still said no. But I would have thought maybe a little bit longer about it.
What if I made it like? What if it was like a strongman-esque workout?
Like strength wars?
Yeah.
Still no.
Uh,
Look, if it's longer than a minute, I think it's not worth doing.
Poor Kush.
I don't even need Kush. I just need a band and hip hinges.
Oh, fuck. I love it. It's good. It's good. Oh, well. Anyway, so are you off to... Did you say Texas?
Yeah, Texas.
Texas. When are you leaving?
I leave on Tuesday.
Okay.
I'm going there for a coaches business summit with the Strong Coach.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys have heard of them, but like the guy that runs it, Mike Bledsoe, basically was one of the first CrossFit podcasts. He was the founder of Barbell Shrugged.
Yep.
Which used to be really, really good podcast. It no longer is, but it used to be really good.
Yeah.
Why is it not good anymore?
Well, one, I haven't listened to it in years.
Yeah.
But they just had like really high quality of content, as well as quality of like making like video editing and
Yeah.
videography, all that kind of thing. Kind of like what you guys like. I'm blown away. Like I look at your Instagrams now and I'm like, wow, these guys have a lot of time to make this cool stuff.
Oh, I don't know about that, but
We've got no lives.
definitely compared to where we started.
Oh yeah, fucking the mere exposure effect. Holy shit.
The quality of your post is really good. I love how cool everything looks. I like your pink t-shirts. Dennis, I love how angry you are on Instagram.
Is it like on my personal Instagram or?
Both. I just feel like your
been...
statements come across as attacks, and I'm like, oh yeah, I am doing this wrong.
Oh, that's not good.
I can give you a pink t-shirt, bro. But
it's all positive. Yeah, I'd love a pink t-shirt.
Yeah. Plus 20%.
I still have my black Robo one.
The pink one's 20% extra, bro.
We're trying to find new supplier after Ink's just gone disappeared.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
We don't know what happened.
So my order from Irv is meant to be here this week, and then I've got another one coming. Did you try reaching out to that other company I sent you?
Yeah, we did. We sent it for the...
Wait, do you mean Irv as in Irv from EK Inc.?
Yeah.
Why is he not answering us?
If he's listening to this, answer our emails.
Yeah, I doubt he's listening to this.
Yeah.
How big are your orders?
He's replied to every single one of the other orders.
Yeah, but how big are your current orders?
We haven't ordered anything in ages, but the current order would be like
50
a couple hundred shirts.
Dude, that's massive. Why the fuck is he not picking up?
Literally, I've tried Instagram. I've sent him like three emails. I've tried him on Instagram again. Not even seen.
Yeah.
Like
Look,
we thought he died.
I don't like to badmouth people,
No.
but that seems like not the best customer service.
Yeah.
Especially, for... But he's good value in terms of like pricing. As
Yeah,
well.
like the quality that we got from him was unreal.
Good.
So that was the big reason we want to go back. But yeah, I guess we're sort of segueing off a little bit.
Yeah, I
but
know, bro.
anyway,
I mean, this seems like a conversation better had in private.
Yeah, we'll cut it out.
we'll hang around after this. It's all right. But other than that, I guess we'll finish up. But let everyone know where they can find you, Andy, and we'll jump off.
Yeah. Hey guys, you can find me at Raw Barbell Club on all of our social medias. That's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all that stuff. And you can follow me at Train with Andy on Instagram.
Do some kettlebell swings.
Yeah. If you see me doing kettlebell swings, you will know that I have spent the time mastering the hip hinge by myself in my room
On your knee.
with a band on my knee.
And on that.
Right.